Ashe, peace and benedictions. So this is the part third to the last, probably the last. You know what I mean? So we're gonna knock this out. For Throwback Thursday. You know what I'm saying? So in the first two parts we address the bullshit, the lies. You know, we even exposed the puffery, the way that these motherfuckers legally lied to us. And we determined that the the State of the Union address can be looked at as non-commercial speech. You know, another way for them to lie to us. You know what I'm saying? So um, so on night of Throwback Thursday, you know what I mean, we want to pull up some receipts. Because one of the biggest things about this shit was how they lied about this whole pandemic situation. You know what I'm saying? So you know um I had found this. I was sitting on this little center here, for a little bit. You know what I mean? When they made Fauci come to court, but then he act like he had the vid. You know what I mean? So he showed up on the vid. You know what I mean? Pun intended. So we're gonna run through this real quick. You know what I mean? And, be on to the next shit. You know what I mean? So these motherfuckers, they've been tucking money, stealing money. You see how they gathered up all this money for that situation, but then the shit magically disappeared. You know, they keep asking for more money. So I'm gonna go through a couple of these clips. You know what I mean, and let's do it.
What's the plan? I hope in your opening statements, or maybe when I ask this question in the question round, somebody will give me an answer. The chairman just did a fabulous job of painting Republicans as the obstacle for there not being enough emergency funding. I remind my colleagues, we spent $1.9 billion
Money they
just
try to
on
save
COVID
themselves
a
from.
year ago. Where's that money gone? How's it been spent? Where is it obligated? No plan's been presented. But on multiple occasions, the chairman's been in the room when I've said, here's a condition. Present us a plan. Now, in early May, this plan went out. It just tells me what you would buy if you got $10 billion and what you would buy if you got $17.5 billion, and it says confidential. This isn't a plan. When is somebody going to share with the American people the destination we're trying to get to? But I'll quote this. This was the president. People can get tested at a pharmacy, and if they're positive, receive antiviral pills on the spot at no cost. So either the president was confused about his own announcement, or you're deliberately giving these pills to too many patients, violating the terms of the EUA, putting people at risk, and wasting treatments and taxpayer dollars.
Well, well, the president being confused about his words, that's not surprising to me. You know what I'm saying? Because he's the gaff president of all time. You know what I mean? So they act like they ain't know where this money went. They keep asking for money, but then they don't even want to tell you what the money is going to go to. You know what I'm saying? So they cry and broke, and then they say, "Yo, give us a blank check. Just give us some money." And then they don't even tell you what it's for. They tell you, "Oh, that's confidential." How is it confidential if you saying that you're supposed to help people with the shit? Now, this is the shit that they said they did when he tried to make it seem like he threw some Hail Mary and saved the day and everybody's happy with what the fuck you did. Like, remember when the motherfucker was saying to us, um, my patience is running thin with y'all. Y'all need to go out and get vaccinated. This, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really came at you hard about that shit. Motherfuckers lost their job about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck, yo? So, all right, now look, these motherfuckers say that they want this money, whatever, right? So they say they need the money, they want the money, they ain't gonna tell you what it's for. So they had these motherfuckers going around, these other nefarious clandestine motherfuckers, the people who y'all don't never check to see what the fuck they doing. You're only worried about the one person, and then he can come give you some bullshit progress report. You know what I mean? So these motherfuckers go around allegedly raising money for this shit. You know what I'm saying? Now
We
watch
thank
this
you,
shit.
Senator Romney, and thank you for your support in trying to get additional funds freed for us to manage the COVID response.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they weren't needed. I wouldn't have worked as hard with Leader Schumer and with others over many weeks and intensive negotiations and gone to my colleagues and told them these monies were necessary had I been told that, in fact, they weren't necessary. And I know money is all, you're going to tell me that, hey, we needed to spend money on other things, we had to divert it. But that we could have been told. But we weren't told that. We were told we could not purchase therapeutics or monoclonal antibodies. And now you have.
And we had to do so with significant trade-offs that none of us wanted to make. As the
But we should have been, we're part of Congress. When you're asking us for $10 billion, we should be apprised of what those trade-offs are and have that discussion and help make that decision together. You shouldn't be able to say, hey, we're looking at trade-offs. We're not going to tell you about them. Just give us some more money. Isn't that not unacceptable in a relationship between an administration and Congress?
We've worked hard to be transparent with our funding needs, and again, I've appreciated the
Wow.
support you've given us in trying to unlock additional funds.
You know, you about to say,
Making the decision to spend this money, taking it away from critical programs is absolutely difficult, and it's something we didn't think was acceptable. We're now at a point, because Congress has not given us additional funding, that we've had to do these things that are unacceptable.
Well, my time.
whoa. Y'all just heard this shit. Let me run this shit back. Let me run it back so you clear on what the fuck she just said. Take it back to 47. And I may take back to 44, because that's what they're trying to do.
And have that discussion and help make that decision together. You shouldn't be able to say, hey, we're looking at trade-offs. We're not going to tell you about them. Just give us some more money. Isn't that not unacceptable in a relationship between an administration and Congress?
We've worked hard to be transparent with our funding needs, and again, I've appreciated the support you've given us in trying to unlock additional funds. Making the decision to spend this money, taking it away from critical programs is absolutely difficult, and it's something we didn't think was acceptable. We're now at a point, because Congress has not given us additional funding, that we've had to do these things that are unacceptable.
Well, my time is up. I just say we agreed on one word, and that is unacceptable.
And what is
Thank
it that
you.
they did? They just took the fucking money. That's what the fuck they did. They just took the fucking money. So y'all ain't gonna give us the money. Y'all, we saying we need the money. Y'all ain't giving it to us fast enough. Or we just take the fucking money, and then take it and just spend it, and then let them motherfuckers figure out what we spend it on. Still don't tell you what the fuck they spend it on. $10 billion ain't no little bit of money. You know what I'm saying? So, despite the fact, they had lost $23 trillion the day before 9/11. You know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers is spending hundreds of billions of dollars with Ukraine, right? And then the COVID money is going missing. You know what I'm saying? They running around chasing around people about the PPP shit while they motherfucker disappearing tens of billions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Crazy shit. And then you supposed to be okay with inflation. And then this motherfucker get to come out and people clapping for that shit. They want 4 more years of this shit. You serious? Like, come on, man. This shit is crazy. So, what else we got here? So, I got like 3 or 4 more clips I want to go through. Just pointing out the fucking fumbling of this motherfucking administration. And I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not into politics. But y'all motherfuckers electric slide in the street for somebody who told you that you ain't black unless he vote for you. And this motherfucker wrote the 94 crime bill to send all your motherfucking grandpops and uncles and brothers to fucking jail in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention the onslaught of racist statements that this man made in the 47 years of him being in fucking Congress and in the politics. You know what I'm saying? How the fuck do we allow these motherfuckers to be in politics longer than people been alive? When in the Constitution, the shit say, like, y'all always be so hype about the Constitution, but the shit say every 7 years motherfuckers supposed to change government. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's supposed to be out of that motherfucker if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? So where we gonna go from here? All right. I forgot how these clips were set up. So I got the Fauci shit. Yeah, let's go to the Fauci shit. So because a lot of this shit is backed by your man Fauci, and of course this Chi is foul. So we're gonna go to the Fauci shit, and we're gonna go into the shit that they did with what they said about the mandates and the mask, you know what I'm saying? The boosters and all that shit. So I'm gonna go to the Fauci shit and just Rand Paul always be going at Fauci, and it kind of seemed like an act. But you know what I mean. But
with taking a
either way,
booster.
it's some real
The
shit.
only studies that were permitted, the only studies that were presented were antibody studies. So they say if we give you a booster, you make antibodies. Now, a lot of scientists would question whether or not that's proof of efficacy of a vaccine. If I give you 10, or if I give a patient 10 mRNA vaccines and they make protein each time, or they make antibody each time, is that proof that we should give 10 boosters, Dr. Fauci?
No, I think that is somewhat of an absurd exaggeration.
Well,
Senator
that is the
Paul.
proof that you use. Your committees use
That
that. That's
supposed
the
to got
only proof you have to
COVID,
tell children to take a booster
taking
is
all
that they
these
make
damn
antibodies.
boosters, but
So
he
it's
got.
not an
There are-
absurdity.
They
You're
told
already at
you.
like 5 boosters for people. You've had, 2 or 3 boosters. It's like, where is the proof? Now, I think there is probably some indication for older folks that have some risk factors. For younger folks, there's not. But here's the other thing. There are some risk factors for the vaccine. So the risk of myocarditis with a second dose for adolescent boys 12 to 24 is about 80 in a million. This is both from the CDC and from the Israeli study. It's also in the VAERS study, remarkably similar for boys, much higher from boys than girls and much higher than the background. The background's about 2 per million. So there is risk and there are risks. And you're telling everybody in America, just blindly go out there because we made antibodies. So it is not an absurd corollary to say if you have 10. In fact, you probably make antibodies if you get 100. All right? That's not science, that's conjecture, and we should not be making public policy on it.
So, Senator Paul, if I might respond to that, we just heard in his opening statement, Ranking Member Burr talk about his staff who went to Israel. And if you look at the data from Israel, the boost, both the third shot boost and the fourth shot boost, was associated with a clear-cut clinical effect, mostly in elderly people, but also as they gathered more data,
Trying to
even in
boost
people
the
in the
soul
40s and
about
the
the
50s.
body. That's
So
what
there
it's
is clinical data.
But not in children.
Well,
See, here's the thing is you're not willing to be honest with the American people. So, for example, 75% of kids have had the disease. Why is the CDC not including this in the data? You can ask the question. You can do laboratory tests to find out who's had it and who hasn't had the disease. What is the incidence of hospitalization and death for children who've been infected with COVID, subsequently going to the hospital or dying? What is the possibility if your kid has had COVID, which is 75% of the country's had COVID, what is the chance that my child's going to the hospital or dying?
If you look at the number of deaths in pediatrics, Senator, you can see that there are more deaths
Of
in
people who have had it,
pediatrics-
of people who have had the
pediatric-
disease.
Senator, we also know from other studies that the optimal degree of protection when you get infection is to get vaccinated after infection. And in fact, showing reinfection in the era of Omicron and the sublineages, that vaccination.
But you can't
follows.
answer the question I asked. The question I ask is how many kids are dying and how many kids are going to the hospital who've already had COVID? The answer may be 0, but you're not even giving us the data because you have so much wanted to protect everybody from all the data because we're not smart enough to look at the data. When you released data earlier, when the CDC released the data, they left out the category of 18 to 49 on whether or not there was a health benefit for adults 18 to 49. Why was it left out? When critics finally complained, it was finally included because there was no health benefit from taking a booster between the 18 to 49 and the CDC study.
What? Run it. Let me run that last part back for you. Because these motherfuckers, kids ain't even get, like, majority of the kids that got sick with this fucking shit, they didn't even know they were sick. You know what I'm saying? They didn't die. They didn't go to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? So why the fuck they making this shit mandatory that your kids get this shit and a booster this and a booster that? Like I said, they trying to boost your soul up out your body and shit. You know what I'm
From other
saying?
studies that the optimal degree of protection when you
Listen
get
to this last
infection
part
is to
right
get
here.
vaccinated after infection. And in fact, showing reinfection in the era of Omicron and the sublineages, that vaccination.
But you can't
follows.
answer the question I asked. The question I ask is how many kids are dying and how many kids are going to the hospital who've already had COVID? The answer may be 0, but you're not even giving us the data because you have so much wanted to protect everybody from all the data because we're not smart enough to look at the data. When you released data earlier, when the CDC released the data, they left out the category of 18 to 49 on whether or not there was a health benefit for adults 18 to 49. Why was it left out? When critics finally complained, it was finally included because there was no health benefit from taking a booster between the 18 to 49 and the CDC study.
You know, health benefit. But them motherfuckers is motherfucking they in the heartbreak hotel. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers got that Cardi B or that, no, matter of fact, not that Cardi B, that Cardi D. You know what I mean? Cardiditis. You know what I mean? From taking that bullshit. So that shit ain't, now they ban motherfuckers. They snatch people offline. They canceled your account. They accused you of this hate speech, medical misinformation, and all this bullshit, right? But the only motherfuckers, these motherfuckers is gaslighting because the only motherfuckers that's guilty of this shit is these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Shit is fucking crazy. So let's go over here. So let's look at this shit right here.
Or lose their job. That seemed like the ultimate heavy hand of government. Would you ever
I don't know why
recommend
it started like that. Hold on, let me start over. Because
there on the side?
your man Joe
When it comes to
joint,
vaccine
hold on,
man,
your man Joint Operation Environment, Biden the U.S. sometime. He told motherfuckers his patience is wearing thin. First they would say, hey, you want to go to you want to go to the smoky house? You know what I'm saying? You want a beer? You want a free lunch? You want $100? You know what? Y'all getting on my nerves. Y'all need to go out and take this bullshit. You know what I mean? You know, matter of fact, you can't go to work if you ain't got that shit, right? This is what this man did to y'all for the for the past 4 years, cuz. And look at what the fuck they say about this shit, dog. Hold up. What the fuck is that? Let me go to this clip. Hold on, let me see.
Total
Come
in
back
DH
to
history. And now, thanks to our inhumane open border policies, every state is now a border state.
Oh no, yeah, I'm gonna come back to that. So yeah, I'm gonna finish with that. All right, yeah, I played them two Jones. All right, this John is trolling me a little bit. I don't know what's wrong with that John. Maybe I gotta bring it out and bring it back in. So I'm gonna go to this John right here.
Mandates have not done much to reduce COVID caseloads over the past 2 years. And in fact, he says that daily
Oh,
average
look,
cases per
the
capita
universe
during
wanted me to
last
go here.
winter's surge were practically the same in counties and states that had mask mandates and those that did not. And we've seen that Hong Kong, despite almost universal mask wearing, recently endured one of the world's worst COVID outbreaks. There are proven ways to lower
Right.
hospitalizations and deaths. We know that. Vaccinations, therapeutics. But mask mandates have contributed to a breakdown of trust in public health officials, given the scant evidence that they actually
Dance.
lower caseloads. What
Right.
specific data has the
Is it dope?
CDC examined that demonstrate that broad-based mask mandates lead to lower caseloads? Because I can't find
Nah.
any.
Thank you, Senator Collins. I actually believe that is a piece that's undergone substantial criticism for moving forward. But I will say that there are
Is this
numerous
fake?
studies that have demonstrated, and we have to look at this over time because there are secular trends as to when these mask mandates have occurred. There are population aggregate anonymized data
Look how
that have
she's not
demonstrated
answering the
decreased
question.
rates of disease when mask mandates have been put in place earlier in the pandemic. And we have to control for all of the things as to what has been open, what interventions have been available. But there have been other studies for certain to refute those data. Thank you.
That was a swift deflect right there. She swiftly deflected answering that question. What data did she ask for the data? She said, "Oh, it's all kind of data out there." Blah 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 blah, blah nothing, right? But what about the proof that in the truth that she presented? That okay, these motherfuckers over here, they was strict with the face diaper, and them motherfuckers kept getting sick. You know, we've been telling y'all this shit for the past couple of years. You keep wearing that face diaper, you fucking bringing down your lymphatic system. You know what I'm saying? You fucking yourself up. You know, you making yourself more susceptible to the bullshit. And it's and I dare you to say that I said something that's off base because this is what the data that they showing now. So all of this shit that y'all took paid flag me and strikes and all these people got all this bullshit, all for this shit to come out in the fucking reports. You know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers don't get to come out here and applaud themselves and talk all this bullshit like they did something for you when this shit is on their fucking resume. You know what I'm saying? This is the worst shit that ever happened in US history. You know what I'm saying? In terms of lying to motherfuckers, if you want to, well, I would say in recent history, because we don't want to we don't want to not look at the past. You know, massacres and slavery and all the other bullshit, false flags, and man, this shit is just crazy, man. These motherfuckers, they just don't never stop. They never stop with the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be able to see this shit, though. You know what I'm saying? Of course, now a lot of people are seeing this shit more than ever. But you know, just I would say with this past 4 years, this shit should be crystal clear. You know what I mean? Like I remember back in 2020, I was saying, yeah, it's 2020. Let your vision be clear so you can see through the bullshit. So now it's 2024. I think that's where we are. I think it should be no question. You know what I'm saying? If you still got your head in the sand, then you probably should just keep it there. You know what I mean? Because you probably no good to yourself and nobody else. All right, so I'm gonna go with this clip right here. Um, Dealing with the shit that's going on right now. The border shit is out of control. They've been talking about this shit since for the past 4 years. For real. The shit got worse in the past 4 years. So they've been talking about this shit and they've been ignoring this shit. You know what I mean? So now, remember with the Title 42 shit. Now, of course, 42 shit is usually a negative stamp on black people, like 42, 59. You know what I mean? With the gematria shit. We're gonna get into some more gematria bills too. But you see how they did that shit with blocking people from coming into the country. Majority of them people was black. They let the Ukraine in and they let this one and that one in, but they chasing around the Haitians with the good old boy cowboys. You know what I'm saying? Trying to lasso these motherfuckers like they hogs and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Title 42 shit is about, is sending the black people back where they came from. You know what I'm saying? So let me pull this clip up right here where they talking about this Title 42 shit. And one of these motherfucking sin eaters, asks a good ass question. You know what I'm saying? So this video was
Yesterday, we
trolling me
learned
earlier.
that in the month of May, our Border Patrol encountered an unprecedented 239,000 migrants at the southern border, the highest monthly total in DH history. And now, thanks to our inhumane open border policies, every state is now a border state. In my home state of Kansas, a person dies most every day from fentanyl poisoning. Nationwide, over 200 people are dying daily from fentanyl. The number's on the rise, and this is now an epidemic. Just last week in Kansas City, authorities seized 15,000 counterfeit pills laced with fentanyl. Chair Murray, in your state of Washington, 5 people are dying per day from drug overdose. And Ranking Member Burr, in your state, 9 North Carolinians are dying every day from drug overdose. I don't have to remind people on this committee or our panel that fentanyl precursors are made in China. Then the Chinese work with the cartels to process it into a lethal fentanyl, often lacing other opioids, marijuana, meth, Adderall, Xanax, amongst others. And all across the nation, counterfeit oxycodone pills, like the ones behind me, are now actually laced with fentanyl. And unfortunately, just one pill can kill. And in the case of one young student in Shawnee, Kansas, it only took half
They
of
ain't
a
killing
fake
Kodak
Percocet
Black.
pill to take his life. Dr. Walensky, my colleague, Senator Haggerty from the great state of Tennessee, has introduced a bill that would expand Title 42, expedited removal authority to combat the drug overdose epidemic resulting from drug smuggling across our southern border. Dr. Walensky, I'd like to ask you, yes or no, would you commit to expanding the Title 42 authority to turn back migrants to combat this prolific drug smuggling across the U.S.-Mexico border in an effort to stop the flow and the epidemic of fentanyl that is killing Americans every day?
Thank you, Senator. I'd like to just back up and say that
Watch
CDC is
this,
a
look.
public health agency, not an immigration agency. And the question of
Deflect.
Title 42 is a public health policy. The question of Title 42 that was posed to me is there a public health emergency that should bar people from coming into the United States? We now have, as of April 1st, when I commented on this, we now have the tools, the tests, the vaccines, and the therapeutics that are available. Our hospitals are not full. Most people in this room are not wearing a mask. There is no longer a public health emergency.
So, Dr. Walensky, I appreciate that, but I hope you realize that
gotta
fentanyl poisoning is killing more individuals ages 18 to 45 than COVID-19. So for the same reasons that you instituted Title 42 for COVID, why wouldn't you consider instituting it for fentanyl poisoning as well as, would you commit yes or no to tracking this similarly the way you did for COVID?
To the larger immigration question, I turn things back to you in Congress to address the larger immigration question. As a public health emergency for COVID, which is what Title 42 was put up to do, there was no longer a need.
Do you deny that there's an epidemic of fentanyl poisoning across this country?
I do not.
Thank you.
So she don't deny that it's an epidemic going across the country, and she don't deny that fentanyl is killing more motherfuckers than the vid, allegedly, right? So why not do what they implement. Now, that might not stop the shit. You know what I'm saying? Because as far as I'm concerned, this is an inside job. You know what I mean? All the motherfuckers that's diddy bopping across the motherfucking the the uh the, the border, they ain't got the Fetty on them. You know what I'm saying? The Fetty is coming, in big shipments. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, all right, now, and a part of this, John, they was talking about, sending money to China, how they send money over there to help them do the research and shit. They was showing how these motherfuckers get kickback money for patents and making the vaccines and shit, and they don't got to disclose the shit to the public. You know what I'm saying? And the only way that they knew about this shit is that these motherfuckers was pressing them under the Information Act, and made them, divulge some of that information. But that you can look at that a lot of different ways. You know what I mean? Like, all right, shit, for all the fuck we know, these motherfuckers is buying the Fetty, bringing it over here. I wonder how many people died over just in Kensington alone from Fetty. And how is that not a public health emergency? You know what I mean? The shit just happened in the Kensington. These motherfuckers taking that trank shit. Motherfuckers looking like Resident Evil for real and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, how is that not a public health emergency? You know? So, you see they pick and choose what they want to respond to. You know what I mean? So, the whole shit is bullshit. You know what I mean? Now, this is all done under the okay, your man, Joint Operation Environment Biden the U.S. sometime. You know, we don't want you to forget that as we wrap this up. You know what I mean? So this is his progress report. You know, he fumbled this whole situation. He got millions of people sick, millions of people fired from their job, millions of people had to quit their job, right? Inflation through the roof. They gave away billions and trillions of dollars, right? Ben told y'all these motherfuckers, he's more the president than Ukraine than he is of the United States. At this point, you should be able to charge these motherfuckers with treason. You know what I'm saying? And we already know the penalty for that. So I'm going to just leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you come across vital information, it's your obligation to share with the nation. You know what I mean? And I'm about to take it down because I got to get my ass up early in the morning. So we're going to wrap this up. We're going to mark this complete. You know what I mean? So with that said, I say peace and benedictions. Only you and only you can prevent cognitive dissonance. And we out. One.